Hi, this is Eliot from Workload. In this video, we're going to build a slightly more complicated workflow. It takes advantage of our webhook trigger and also the built-in webhook capabilities of the DrChrono website. Then we're going to filter that response to our AI formatter in order to have a quick add event in Google Calendar. All right, let's build a workflow. So we'll start with the title, like always. So this is going to be DrChrono to Google Calendar. But our setup is going to be a little bit different than some other triggers. So we're going to do some work here on the workload editor, but we're going to do some of the setup actually at the DrChrono website. So we're going to begin here on the workload editor. So I'm going to click inside of the trigger box, but instead of selecting an app for our trigger, I'm going to click on the webhook button over here. So this will trigger a workflow when another app sends a webhook. Our event is going to be webhook received. I'm going to click continue. We're going to need this URL in a second, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and click the test trigger button because that's going to set up the webhook on our end to be ready to receive information from DrChrono. So then I'm going to jump over to the DrChrono website. I'm going to hover over the Accounts button and then click on API. And this is going to load all of the different apps I have set up through my DrChrono account in order to make API calls. We're going to create a new one by scrolling down to the bottom, and we're going to click on the button where it says New Application. And so now we have a new application, so we can name this DrChrono to Google Calendar. And now you see a red box where it says redirect URLs. So that's going to be a specific URL that we need to use in order to get Workload to communicate with DrChrono. You'll be able to copy and paste that directly from this YouTube video description. So once that's there, then we're going to save changes. And when I save the changes, now you see this webhook category popped up at the bottom. So our webhook name can be test webhook. Here is where we're going to paste that URL that came from the workload editor. So I'm going to jump back over there really quick. Copy that. Come back over to DrChrono. I'm going to paste that into our callback URL. I'm going to click down here where it says secret token. I'm going to click the show button. And this is another thing you have to type in order for it to communicate with workload. So that's workload 1, 2, 3. I got to choose the event I want to use. So for this webhook, we're going to trigger when a new appointment has been created. So I'm going to click on appointment created. And then I'm going to make this active. I'm going to save my changes. Now that that's saved, I can verify my webhook to see if it's working properly. So I'm going to click the verify button, and then this check verification status button should pop up, and I can check that as well. The webhook is verified. I'm going to click over on schedule and then on calendar. So I'm going to schedule an appointment for today in exam room 4 at 11 a.m. And this will be for our patient named Dennis Martin. And his reason will be has a fever. And we can schedule that for today. We can change the duration to 60 minutes. Do that at the primary office in exam room 4. So then I can save and close. And you can see now that's been added to my DrChrono calendar. But I can jump back over to the workload editor. And there, the information was now found. So we now know that our webhook at Workload is communicating with DrChrono, and that is all set up correctly. So now we can continue on like we would a normal workflow. The only thing is that scheduled time is in a format that Google Calendar doesn't like. So we're going to quickly change the scheduled time format so that it can be easily input into Google Calendar. So I'm going to click on the Add Action box. I'm going to use a tool. We're going to use our AI formatter by workload. And what this tool does is formats the data. It basically allows us to take any of the information we receive from a previous step and then uses the power of AI to convert that information into whatever format is easiest for our workflow to function. So for the input data, I'm going to click in that box, come down, step 1 from the webhook, and I'm going to find that scheduled time. There we go, scheduled time. And then I can just tell the AI what I want it to do. Format the scheduled time in this manner. Year dash month dash day space hour colon minute. No need for seconds. So that's the format I want. So I'm going to click continue, test that action. And now we have that time in the format that I want. I'm going to click continue. So now I can add one more step. And this is going to be in Google Calendar. And we're going to use quick add event. And we need to connect to our Google account and pick the calendar I want this event to go on. So I'm going to use my test calendar. And then the way this quick add event action works is it kind of has an AI built in where you can just write in text what you want the event to be, and it'll put it on the calendar. So we're going to combine text with information from our webhook in order to create the event. So from our webhook, we're going to pick how long our appointment is. So it's a 60-minute appointment. So we'll say duration 60 minutes with patient. And we'll select the patient number. In exam room space 4 about as a fever on, and now for the date, we're going to pull that from our formatted date. So I'm going to click continue. We're going to test our action. And now we have successfully created that event. So I'm going to click continue. We'll hop over to my Google Calendar. And here we have appointment with patient number in exam room 4 about has a fever. Scheduled today from 11 to 12. So there we go. We've got our workflow set up so that when we create a new appointment within DrChrono, it's going to automatically put that onto our Google Calendar. So once that setup is complete, I can check and make sure there's a green dot in each of my nodes. And then I can turn on my workflow to activate it. And every time I create a new appointment, that will automatically go into my Google Calendar. So that's how you can build a workflow using our webhook trigger along with DrChrono to add a quick event to Google Calendar. Please like and subscribe to this video to get more content from Workload about how to make your business practices run more smoothly. And I'll see you next time.